Hello everyone, I'm Santiago and today I'm gonna be testing Shadow of War on the Geforce GTX 750 Ti. For FPS monitoring I'll be using Cam. If you want to download this software, there's a link down in the description. And if you enjoyed the content and want to support the channel directly, there's Patreon and affiliate links down in the description as well. So Shadow of War, I'll be doing 1080p, 900p and 720p. To skip none of those sections of the video, check the description below. So first I'll show you 1080p, trying to be over 30 frames per second since it was impossible to target 60 frames per second at 1080p. And in order to do so, I used a mix between medium and high, pretty much. The game looks quite good, except in the vegetation, which not so far into the distance can look very blurry because I'm using the medium preset for vegetation, and you'll see that texture quality is on low. I'll talk more about that in a second. Also keep in mind that on 1080p I overclocked the GTX 750 Ti. On 900p and 720p I disabled such overclock. And well, then on 900p I show you another 30 frames per second configuration, but this time around has a little higher settings than on the 1080p footage. And then for the 60 frames per second configuration on 900p I just lowered the settings and enabled the dynamic resolution to 60 frames per second. So we get 60-ish frames per second with some drops in the resolution when there's a lot going on. And then I do the same at 720p. I just crank up the settings for a 30 frames per second target, and then I just enable dynamic resolution, lower the settings, and I get worse shadows, worse ambient occlusion, all that kind of stuff, but I get a stable 60 frames per second with the resolution going up and down. And now I'm going to talk to you about the texture quality. On the 750 Ti I get very high VRAM usage, so I had to use textures on low. If I use medium or something else, the game randomly crashes. So I just lowered the texture quality from medium to low, and that fixed the problem. But one other thing that you should do is disable large page mode. You probably didn't enable this setting, but if you have it enabled, just disable it if you have a 2GB of VRAM GPU, since the game crashes more often with that. If I'm using medium textures, for example, it just feels that it doesn't have enough space to just simulate the VRAM on the page file due to the big page option. But that's just a theory, because with it enabled or disabled, the game still crashes for me using medium textures or better. Just experiment with medium textures, try to use medium, then you see what happens. Because I don't recommend low textures, they look dreadful, so just try medium textures, and if the game doesn't crash, just keep it like that and you'll be fine. So keep that in mind while watching this video. I was using big page, so that made the issue worse, but without it I still crashed, just less often. So just something to keep in mind. This time around the amount of options we have is very substantial. There are not that many options, but they affect the frame rate quite a bit. So first of all, if you want to get better performance, lower shadow quality from ultra to high, you can see at the right of the options what each option does. So for example, from high to ultra we get double the resolution of the shadows plus more shadow distance. So you know what you're tweaking when you are in the options menu, which is good to have. All the explanations, the memory usage, all that kind of stuff. Then mesh quality can also make quite a difference in performance, but there's more pop in when you're moving fast through the map. The vegetation range, I recommend lowering that as well, which gives you a good improvement in performance. And finally, if you lower ambient occlusion, it can help you with the performance a little bit. And one very cool option that I found in the display page from the options menu, you have the dynamic resolution option if you want to use it. What this does is you put the frame rate that you want to get to, and the game will dynamically change the resolution in order to maintain that frame rate. I tested it out and it works pretty well, but if for example you try on a 1050 Ti, I don't know, maybe ultra settings, and you get 30 frames per second but you want to get 60s, the dynamic resolution option at 60 will make you go as low as 720p. It's very noticeable. So I recommend using dynamic resolution if you are very close to your target, like 10 frames away, and want to get to that frame rate. Other than that, it's very noticeable when the game gets blurrier. So just test it out and see how it works for you. In all my videos I didn't use the dynamic resolution option, except on my GTX 750 Ti video, but that's because that's a lower end card. Overall, I really like the options menu of this game. It explains everything to you, what each option does and what part of your PC is affecting. So it's a pretty good options menu if you ask me. A lot of options, you can even turn off many of the heads-up display stuff. So yeah, kudos to the developers about the options menu. Anyway guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
slice you apart! You tried to shape me, but all you did was make me stronger. Now I know my true self, my unashamed self. I just want you to know this before I end your life. After we take you down, I am gonna tear your flesh off your bones with my bare hands!
Make a pay!
He's back aboard! Down quick as. Show no mercy!
Push hard now!
Ready to die! There will be no quarter, no mercy, only a savage flurry of strikes, battering you into nothing! Chop him, you Shame! On your knees, maggot! You're not fit to even look upon our master! You are saved, not me! You're done! I feel no shame! master! I'm going to enjoy cutting you open in the name of our master. The dream does not lie! Crush 'em! Dream killer! Go on, lads! Show this maggot why the Uru got taken over! All a dream! Not me!
Didn't start with
Hold the line! I am your
Stop it!
It's all a
Defend the
too quick! How can I like that?
We'll break you!
No shame! Time! Are you laughing at Longtooth? Are you sniggering? Die, Todd!
Break 'em!
Down quick as.
Push hard now!
Charge!
You'll die here!
The darkness of Sauron himself will strike you down today! You are nothing of dry! It's over! Hit me, strike me, feed my rage, and I will tear you asunder! Die,